I just finished reviewing the 853 Chapter 7, and I wanted to comment that most of you did a pretty nice job of identifying what some of the cuts are. I think probably for many of you, the interest factor was really what's occurring in other schools. Are there similar concerns and similar problems? And I think one of the areas that I would want to emphasize is when people are considering cuts. I think it's really important to do everything you can to make those cuts as far from the classroom as possible. And I do some workshops, presentations with school boards and administrator groups about how to determine what some of those cuts might be. We call it the essential financial planning process, and it really does talk about some of the things that a school does need to supply and to utilize. One of the things that does is we talk about things that are core items that have to be addressed by a school district. And then we take a look at Rule 10 and what's required of Rule 10 and what those types of things are. And then we talk about the area that's marginal. Some school districts have it and some don't, but basically we talk about things that are essential to your school district. And so that's why one school might be different than another, the things they might consider cutting or reducing. I think one of the important things to realize, and many of you have mentioned that between 80 and 85% of the budget is probably personnel. That can be, we're done with personnel, we're going all the way from administration to teachers to custodians and bus drivers, and their salaries are the main factor. And so that's, if you're going to make major cuts, that's about where you have to go. One of the suggestions that I think can be made ahead of time is to hire people with flexibility in mind. People who have multiple endorsements, so that, especially those of you that are in smaller schools, that as your numbers decline, you may be able to change the teaching assignments. You can maintain programs, and when somebody leaves the district, you do not replace them or replace them with a part-time. So those are things that I think mainly superintendents have to make those decisions. As a principal, I think you have to just make sure, hopefully, that your instructional budget maintains its credibility and about as much as anything, that the kinds of things that will help teachers will still be there. And most of you, we had a good response rate to people. I get one or two people that are not doing as well, and I caution them to get started to doing better. But anyway, Chapter 7 was an interesting chapter, and I think a lot of you, as you reviewed Dr. Poole's video, and we'll cover some of the same stuff in one of my videos in the next session. I think he did a nice job of just telling you about some basic concepts, and we'll expand on that later on. But many of you sounded overwhelmed. Don't worry about it. This is not a finance class. It's a business management class. You're not going to have to be able to explain the whole state finance process. I just wanted you to have some idea of what does occur when a school district when the state is allotting money for state aid and what that process involves.